What's up, everybody? It's Jared with Capture the Magic, and in typical Universal fashion, there is a lot of things going on, a lot of speculation about some of the things that are going on, and in this video, we're going to talk about Ride Rockit being torn down seemingly in record time, as it seems like they have a deadline they are trying to meet to get that ride torn down, which obviously is an exciting thing for whatever is going to be replacing that. We also have confirmation about the mystery materials that had shown up at Epic Universe a few weeks ago and what that is going to be. We also have some permits out there about an expansion area potentially being used over at Epic Universe, as they are looking to already do something with another parcel of land near Epic Universe. And it also looks like we may also have some sort of expansion going on at Volcano Bay. So in this video, we're going to take a look at all these things, including the permits and what may be coming to Epic Universe and Universal Studios in the very near future, potentially. So that's what we're going to check out in this video today. Again, this is from Orlando Park Stop, and go on talking about over here at Epic Universe first with what we talked about in the last video about how those mysterious construction materials that showed up are seemingly for a wall that is being built. And I think this is for a site wall, especially a lot to do with the water treatment facility that is on the backside of the park there. It says, we're beginning our update at Epic Universe, where there are several open permits for new construction around the area. Construction has officially started at the back edge of the theme park behind the Stardust Racers roller coaster. It says, as was discussed in the last update, permits have confirmed that these green materials that have been staged in an expansion plot will in fact be used to construct a large wall along this side of Epic Universe. Permits filed with the Orange County describe the work as, quote, building a 17-foot sound wall that spans 0.53 miles long. The wall will be built with steel columns that will be erected every 20 feet. In most locations, it will be infilled with panels attaching to the web of the columns. The columns will be supported by auger cast pile foundations. The work is valued at $5 million according to public documents, and this half-mile-long, 17-foot tall wall will be able to withstand 139 miles per hour winds. That would probably stand up, I would say, in most hurricane environments there, so that'll probably do pretty well. The wall is being described as a sound wall. This is the same description for the tall wall behind Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure, which block the view of the outside world from the park while helping to keep the noise in. The permits, which expire in February of 2026, will be filed by Universal Special District, the Shingle Creek Transit and Utility Community Development District. All these districts just roll off the tongue with all their super long names. They oversee any project related to the water treatment plant that may affect the properties Universal owns, which is likely why the wall permits were filed by them and not Universal themselves. It's interesting that it's being classified as a sound wall. Now, I think it probably is a sound wall in many ways. You could have had some complaints about hearing sound coming, from the park. I also think a big part of this, though, is just a site wall where you're not going to be able to easily see the water treatment facility. Because, one thing that, if this is something that is a stickler for you, which is not as much for me, but some people have talked about Epic Universe and the sightline issues, which really any new theme parks nowadays, even like Magic Kingdom, there are sight lines that you're going to be able to see things from various lands. Like you can see the castle when you're in Frontierland and things like that. But some people have complained about that. But I would say being able to see Helios from the lands, to me, is not a big deal, but I do suppose it does kind of ruin the immersion if you can be on Stardust Racers and look over and see a water treatment facility. Not the most, I guess you could just say, whisking away to a new world necessarily. So I think some of it is that, but probably on some level it is due to just keeping sound in and just being able to, control sight lines a bit more. Land for the new wall project has been cleared from the back of the park all the way at Sand Lake Road down to the edge of the water treatment plant's property behind Stardust Racers. This will put the new wall on the outside of Epic Universe's backstage ring road, which encircles the park. They also have a bypass road section was created during construction. This will allow team member shuttles to bypass the usual ring road backstage, as it will be used by cranes and other construction equipment to construct the wall. Footings for the new wall are being installed now along the cleared section of land, with heavy equipment pile driving into the earth. With a permit end date of February and work already underway, it's possible we could see this half-mile wall go up rather quickly. I would assume it's not going to take very long to put that up. It's just a pretty simple wall there, and it'd be interesting to see what that looks like from the outside, but it seems to be the mystery is completely solved. In the last video, it seemed like that is likely what it was for, And then clearly, I think that is what it is for now. So those that are hoping it was going to be for Wicked or something else, I think there are things coming to the park, regardless, on some time frame, probably easily within the next 5 years, I would say. But this one here is just for a wall and not for an attraction or land or anything like that. Now, this one's very, very interesting. And again, I've been saying for a long time, Universal is not going to slow down at all, even though Epic Universe just opened, as there is a new parcel near Epic Universe that has some permits filed with it. So it says new permits submitted to the South Florida Water Management District show that Universal is ready to begin some sort of work on one of their parcels located near Epic Universe. Described as a 53.76 acre plot of land just west of Epic Universe theme park and located along Universal Boulevard, permits refer to this project as West Parcel Mass Grading. And here is the actual permit here where we can see what that is. It says the official permit above shows the location and shape of this 50-acre site, which is essentially located between Epic Universe and the Endless Summer Resort on the east side of Universal Boulevard. I mean, just for a reference point, Epic Universe theme park itself is about 110 acres, so this is roughly half of the size of Epic Universe. So it's a pretty decent size, plot of land there. Unfortunately, the public documents do not say what exactly they are going to be grading this large parcel for, but environmental resource permits have been filed for, quote, new construction/operation. The type of work selected in the permit documents for this parcel is listed as construction and operation of new works, activities, and or stormwater management system, which could mean a lot of different things. The same document later describes this application as Universal SLRC Conceptual Permit Modification. While work should be happening here in the near future, which is likely to prepare the land for something, there is still no telling whether they're preparing to utilize the land soon or just readying it now for a future date. Rumors for this and other satellite parcels around Epic Universe have varied over the last 8 or so years since this land was acquired. Concepts like new hotels, entertainment districts similar to City Walk, or even smaller park venues like water parks, Universal Kids, or Universal Horror Unleashed have been speculated on, but we do not have any recent information on how this particular section of the land may be used. Regardless of their intended use for the section of land, it is exciting to see Universal planning for something down the line, even if it won't be happening immediately. So while we don't know what this is for, this very similar land we're looking at here being developed, you can look at this map here, it has been speculated. I think this is speculation, but it's been speculated before that this would be allocated for a hotel. And just to give an idea of, you could be a hotel. If you look at the Universal Kids Resort, which I have talked about before, that I think this is something Universal could bring to Orlando, as they would have, basically give them a demographic. They really haven't gone after that hard before, of just going after, really young families, those with really young kids. The Universal Kids Resort in Frisco, Texas is on about 97 acres, but the theme park itself is about 32 acres of space. So if you look at 53 acres, that's possible it could be for a Universal Kids Resort, because you would have some of that be parking, but as well, you do have parking over here at Epic Universe. It could be for that. It also could be for hotels, but given the land size there, I don't know if that is where they would put the kids resort if they were to do it, but that is a possibility. And even if they don't put it here, I still contend it's something they could do, because if you look at the cost of the Universal Kids Resort, I think it's somewhere around $500 million that they're spending. If you look at Epic Universe's cost, it was like $6 to $8 billion that they spent on that park. So if you're looking at something that could open you up to a new demographic, then you can also advertise that you have 4 theme parks and a water park. I know Universal likes to say that Volcano Bay is a theme park. It is a great water park, but it is not a theme park. Fight. But this would give you 4 theme parks and a water park. It's possible. Now, I'm not predicting that's what's going to be here, but either way, it is exciting that they are starting to develop something here. And like I've been saying for a while, and after I've been saying this, I had some Universal team members reach out that are a little higher up saying, yeah, you're on the right track there. So I think Universal is going to be very aggressive, and I wouldn't be surprised if within the next couple of years we hear about potentially something else coming into this area, as well as expansions coming into Epic Universe itself, because you're looking at that park, there's already, you got the high wait times there. They want to be able to get that park capacity up, and it really depends on how much of the rides they're going to be able to really get, optimized, running efficiently, how well those wait times are able to come down. And if they're not able to get those wait times really down a whole lot, the really only thing you're going to be left to do is add new things to this park to be able to get, 40 to 50,000 people into this park. So it's definitely something out there, but either way, they are not done with this area around Epic Universe, as the park is now open, but a lot of the things around Epic Universe can still be developed for hotels, potential City Walk stuff, new theme parks, a lot of different things they could do in and around Epic Universe for sure. And also, the Dark Universe soundtrack has been released digitally, so now it is available on streaming services. And this is a 16-track album, which is 40 minutes long and orchestrated by Danny Elfman. In addition to music you can hear throughout the land streets, shops, dining, and attraction queues, the soundtrack also includes the entire musical backing track for Monsters Unchained: The Frankenstein Experiment. So if you're hoping to get one of the vinyls that have sold out, I don't think they're sold out anymore. They were sold out during previews. You can still get those, or you can also just listen to it on streaming services. And of course, when it comes to Ride Rockit, they are moving very quickly getting this thing torn down. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen an attraction basically close down and almost immediately this thing starts coming down this quickly. It says, shifting gears and heading to the northern end of the resort, Hollywood Ride Rockit officially closed last week with its last day of operation on August 17th, 2025, after 16 years of operation. Universal wasted no time demolishing the former attraction, with large sections of coaster track already removed from both ends after just a couple of days. It says now a week later, and it's clear that Universal is serious about getting this attraction cleared as quickly as possible, with demolition crews working through the night to remove pieces of track and even continuing into the days. And it looks weird. Like even the firehouse, like there's no track running through it now. It is, Universal moves very quickly. I will say that's one asset that I think Universal has always had that will, I think in the next decade is going to be a really differentiating factor between them and say how quickly, say, Disney builds, is Universal, they just build stuff quick. And then clearly even tearing things down quickly. And really looking at the pace in which they're going, they don't have to develop an entire land with this. It's just a single attraction. I wouldn't really be surprised if you see whatever is going to replace Ride Rockit. It may not take that long to get up there. I could definitely see within 2 years this being done, if even that long. It really depends on how quickly they move. But I think obviously they want to move very quickly on the things that they are doing. And so I'm very curious how fast they are going to go. And really how soon we know about what is replacing Ride Rockit, as it has been speculated. Could be Ghostbusters, like I said in the last video. From what I'm hearing, it is likely to be Fast and Furious, which I don't love necessarily, but I'm okay with it if the rumor is true, which we talked about as well, that potentially if that is going to be Fast and Furious replacing Ride Rockit, that Supercharged is rumored that could have a return to Back to the Future go in there. Obviously, all speculation there, but if that is a scenario that plays out, I'm on board with that. Because Supercharged is just not a great ride. And a lot of people have voiced that they don't understand why Fast and Furious has to be in the theme parks and that it's not a good franchise. Listen, you don't have to like the movies. The movies are what they are. They're just they're a interesting movie franchise, I will say. They can be entertaining from time to time. They're kind of ridiculous, but it's got some comedy in there, at least I don't think on purpose necessarily. But they are a franchise that makes a lot of money. It makes sense that Universal, again, this is a Universal property that they own completely. So it makes sense they want to have it represented in the theme parks. And I think if you're going to have Fast and Furious represented in the theme parks, having it be a high-speed roller coaster makes the most sense. And again, like what they're doing out in Hollywood with the Hollywood Drift coaster out there. You could also see what I have also heard it potentially could be, New York Drift or East Coast Drift. I'm not saying that Fast and Furious makes a ton of sense going in the New York area, but I'm sure you can write a storyline around that where it could make sense there. But I think, honestly, if it's a good roller coaster, I don't really think it's going to matter too much what the theming of it actually is, as long as the coaster is good. So even if it is Fast and Furious, if people don't really enjoy it as much as they think that, they don't think it should be in the parks, if it's a good coaster, I don't think people are really going to care too much, to be quite honest. So the section of the New York street has been blocked off from guest traffic in front of the firehouse facade, but this was one of the first sections to see its track removed. With the damage being caused to the track to remove it and no care taken to keep it in decent shape, it's obvious this ride will not be sold or repurposed, as this ride is being scrapped. Yeah, it seems like they are tearing this track down as if this track owes them money. Like they're just taking it back. They don't much care. I don't think to keep much of it. I think it's just going to end up being scrap metal. probably just taken away and used somewhere else. As we discussed in the last update, permits seem to indicate that Ride Rockit will be replaced with a new roller coaster ride, which will occupy mostly the same footprint, but with additional space added at either end. We got some stuff going on at Volcano Bay as well. So Universal's Orlando Water Park Volcano Bay is scheduled to close for its first major seasonal refurbishment. The park will close in about a year, remaining shut from October 26, 2026 through March 24th, 2027 at the latest. It may reopen sooner if it's ready. One big change to the water park that we'll see this year is the removal of the Tapu Tapu wearable and the park's virtual line reservation system. It is officially being retired on October 1st of this year. Permits for minor tweaks are already starting to post now, but in addition to refurbishments and updates to the park's attractions, we should also expect modifications to add actual space for queuing now that Tapu Tapu is going away. This will especially be important for the Krakatau Aqua Coaster, the most popular attraction. To help take some of the load off that ride and others, it is speculated that we may see the long-awaited expansion into the reserved expansion plot at the south side of the water park. No word on what types of slides or attractions we could see added, if in fact they do pull the trigger on adding more to the park, but we will keep an eye on permits as we get closer to the planned closure date. I've said all along when it comes to Volcano Bay, I think that if you're talking about this is the first time they've ever really closed this down for an extended period of time, it makes sense that they would expand this. I mean, Volcano Bay is a great water park, but, if you're going to close it for that period of time, I could see them definitely doing some, refurbing on things, as water rides tend to need those a little bit more, but you could see them expand. It's not a major area they can expand, but they could expand to another attraction on that end, and especially if you're not going to have Tapu Tapu anymore and you need more things for people to do so you don't have as long lines. It makes sense to add something else into the mix to try and help alleviate potential lines there. Now, when it comes to Tapu Tapu going away, I know Universal was paying a licensing fee to use that system, so getting rid of that, may just be a cost-saving maneuver. They may feel like they don't need it anymore. And also, as well, you could see the refurb time being, if they're not going to use Tapu Tapu, to go in and kind of remove all those areas of the touch points. Maybe also change up how you get the lockers and things. They could have a replacement system going in here. We really don't know much in terms of maybe why they were getting rid of it and what is being replaced with it. But I think probably something will take its place to access lockers. It may just be your annual pass or your ticket, or maybe they just use the facial recognition like they do in the other parks. But either way, they got to set up those systems. So it's probably part of what they're doing here during the time period where Volcano Bay is going to be closed for a bit. They also said major refurbishments are expected soon for attractions at Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios Florida in the coming months as well. Jurassic Park River Adventure has been rumored to be getting a major overhaul when it closes for its annual winter refurbishment at the end of this year or early next year. River Adventure is currently rumored to close for much longer than usual. This would allow time to upgrade all the dinosaur animatronics and refresh show elements throughout the ride, which is really needed. That ride is in rough shape. It definitely needs a little bit of love. Universal has not yet confirmed these rumors, but we should learn more if it in fact is happening in the coming months. I do not believe that River Adventure will be rethemed to Jurassic World if this rumored refurb is actually going to happen, but I can see a major overhaul to the appearance of the dinosaurs, even if it is keeping the Jurassic Park theme. With the success of the Jurassic Park movies, even the one this summer, I think it made $900 million. I mean, they're very successful movies. The Jurassic Park area of Islands of Adventure is a bit underwhelming in terms, obviously you have Velocicoaster there, but a lot of this stuff does look a bit aged. And I've also wondered if they would update some of it to, say, Jurassic World, not as much Jurassic Park. And I personally, now I don't think there's nothing out there that says this, but I would absolutely love if they got the Jurassic World ride like they have out in Japan. That would be, because that ride looks fantastic from what I've seen on the videos and things. But I would love for that to have a little bit of a refresh, add maybe a new attraction in there. But at the same time, I don't think Islands of Adventure is going to get some major stuff done to it outside of potentially whatever happens with Lost Continent. But I think that the studio side is going to get a lot more attention in this next time period because you already had it Islands of Adventure, Velocicoaster, and Hagrid's. And so I don't think they're going to be concentrating a ton on Islands of Adventure, at least potentially from what I have heard. But I think Jurassic Park area could do with a little bit of a refresh there for sure. So undoubtedly, a lot of stuff going on at Universal. I'm very impressed with how quickly they are tearing down Ride Rockit, and very curious how quickly that new coaster will go up once this is taken out. I'm curious at the rate they're going, they may get Rip Ride Rockit completely torn away within a week or two. They're tearing this thing down, working around the clock to do it. So it looks like clearly Universal is trying to move very fast on whatever they're doing. And I think as well, you talk about Disney and Universal competing. Disney's obviously building their lands. They're not going to be done for, I would say 3 to 5 years on most of those. You could see Universal get Rip Ride Rockit up before those are done. And you could also see Universal, if once they announce whatever is replacing Rip Ride Rockit, whatever potentially, if the scenario of Fast and Furious is going to be the coaster that goes in there, whatever happens with Supercharge, you could also see them move very quickly on that. So I think on some ways Universal may want to get these things open even before Disney gets their things open, as essentially what Disney is building is the answer to Epic Universe in some ways. And it'd be kind of interesting and fun, in my opinion, if Universal was able to get 2 new attractions open before Disney really got theirs open, because then you would have Disney's answers to Epic Universe, and then potentially whatever Universal puts in may put pressure on Disney to have an answer for whatever the new thing that Universal puts in. So I think the next decade you're going to see Universal continue to expand, be very aggressive. I think you're going to see back and forth with Disney and Universal quite a bit on new things that are coming to the parks. And I think whatever is happening to Epic Universe, I'm very curious about, not surprised to see it. Like I said, I think it could potentially, if you look at the footprint of it, it could be like that Universal Kids Park. I'm not predicting that's what it will be. I've always felt they would kind of put it closer to Epic Universe, perhaps. But, it is out there potentially, but it's likely, if I were to guess, I would probably say, given off of what we've seen before, probably would be like a hotel over there, would be kind of my guess there. But, obviously something is going to happen with that. I don't think they would be prepping the land like right now and then not touching it for, say, years to come. So I kind of feel like if they are prepping the land now, something will happen with that sooner rather than later. But nonetheless, Universal just keeps doing stuff, keeps making you wonder what is coming next. And that's one thing I kind of do like what Universal does, is they don't really announce necessarily what they're doing when they start doing stuff, which does open it up to speculation about things coming. And, I think it's a fun time to be into theme parks, as you have Universal doing a lot of stuff, you have Disney doing a lot of stuff, and you're just going to continue to see a lot of competition between those two destinations. And then we'll keep an eye on whatever they have going on at Epic Universe. There will be some permits at some point that come out. But when there are new permits and things coming to, Epic Universe and Universal Studios, we will let you know about it here on this channel. But for now, that is going to be it, though, for this video. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe to the channel, as we do all this coverage here of Universal Studios, Epic Universe, Disney World, and pop culture. And let us know in the comments, what do you think that parcel of land that is being developed at Epic Universe will potentially be used for? And until next time, we will see you in the parks.